What's good, Nine Dreamers? We back at it. Episode 6 of the Nine Dream Podcast. My name is Julian Taliaferro. You already know we coming again with another weekly business update, lessons of the week, and then topic for the day, which is time management. And I think this will be a interesting conversation just about, really how to integrate, your business into your daily life. And this is something that I'm constantly trying to improve, within my own journey. And hopefully we'll have a good little conversation about it and see how, I operate, but then also what improvements I can make, in my own steps. And I thought of my second quote or phrase that we want to use for the Nana Dream community, and it's why be great when you could be greater, and why be greater when you can walk in excellence. So I don't know, is that or the other one that I said last week, and I'm probably gonna have another one in the upcoming weeks as well, and then from there we could probably try to decide what's the best quote. But I actually just thought of something right now. Maybe I could just have a different quote for every episode, and that might be a good idea as well. Just to, switch things up every episode and bring, just another viewpoint of perspective, because quotes, do a lot. I have a own sheet, myself, on just quotes that I have and that I go back and look on to reflect to, because they always put, a little, something, a battery in my back sometimes when I read it, or, just motivation. So I think that might be a good idea, and I might do that. But to get started for our business update, last week I said that I wanted to come in this week with 7 things that I learned from eCommerce. And I'm going to go through all of my 7 ones, and I'm going to start my first one, which is Amazon PPC. And this is Amazon, and it stands for pay per click. And this is more like an advertising platform within the Amazon marketplace that Amazon has. And say I would be on, my account, my Amazon Seller Central account. I would be able to go to the ad section, of my central account, and then from there be able to go forth with pay per click. And this PPC, which will allow me to, shoot my brand or product to, the top of the screen whenever a consumer is going on Amazon and looking for that a specific product. So it'll be a benefit in, bringing more eyes to whatever I'm selling. And it's definitely something that I'm thinking of implementing within my product. I think first, when I put my product on the marketplace, I'm gonna go without the pay per click and see what type of interactions I have. But I'm definitely assuming that I will want to use pay per click, because at the end of the day, I do want to expand my brand with this product, but then also outside of other products. So I need to become familiar with this part of the marketplace. And then the second thing that I learned about was FBM versus FBA. So FBM is fulfilled by merchant and FBA is fulfilled by Amazon. I was already familiar a little bit with, these ideas, and I believed that initially I wanted to go forth with FBM. So that means me fulfilling my orders. So an order would come in through Amazon, and then I would be required to send out that package. So I would go to UPS and send off the packages, and all the fulfillment would be in my hands. And I think this is the best route for me starting off, because I don't know the type of demand that I have for my specific product. So when I start off with my fulfilled by merchant, I can kind of do it myself and get comfortable with dealing with inventory and learn things, in this area. But then once I develop my brand and my specific product, and I have more and more, sales of my product, then I believe that I will want to move to, FBA. But FBA does take specific costs, like a percentage off of your order. So in general, it's like about 15% that takes off of your order cost. And, that's something that I didn't want. So that's why I was also thinking initially to do fulfilled by merchant, so I can, reduce some of those costs that Amazon will eat up. And there's also a lot of other just hidden fees, in general when it comes to FBA. So, definitely for me starting off, I'm going to go forth with a fulfilled by merchant. But it is, definitely a legitimate option. And will be next steps for me to move forward with Amazon FBA, because I want to get to the point where I'm not able to handle too much inventory. And, that just means because I'll be moving so much product. So, that's the overall goal, and we'll see how that goes. Thirdly, the third thing I learned is that I'm going to have to invest in software. So this is kind of things such as, Jungle Scout, which is an assistant when it comes to, or a assist when it comes to helping for your product search and analyzing other products on the Amazon marketplace. It's a software that can really just improve your e-commerce, selection and analysis when it comes to the industry. And I was familiar with these softwares, and there's a couple other more softwares that are available to me, and I have been familiar with these, but I've been trying my hardest to push that date back until I actually need to put that money down, because it is somewhat of an expense, and I'm not ready to spend that money if I don't know that I'm going to need to use the software. So that's why I've been kind of pushing it off. But I know ultimately I'm going to have to invest in it to improve, my skills in the industry, and this just to choose, better and more viable products with, the utmost research that I could have done. And that way I'm carefully selecting each product that I want to put on the marketplace. The fourth thing that I learned is thinking for the long term. And I've already, kind of had this in mind, when I made my mission statement for my company, which is accessibility for all. My company vision is already outside of, only e-commerce. I can see right now, me delivering packages in an Amazon type of form, to underprivileged nations, to lower, income areas, and really being able to expand e-commerce across all socioeconomic lines. So that's kind of like my own vision. So when it comes to thinking for the long term for specifically e-commerce, that means I just know I'm in here for the long haul. So everything that I do needs to be done correctly, and my learnings, need to be solidified, and I need to really try to create processes and SOPs just for my entire process throughout my e-commerce journey. My fifth thing that I learned, I was reading an article, and it highlighted that I need like a business tax ID. And I didn't know what that was initially, but after going through, a little bit of, research about what that is, I realized that I had already fulfilled my business tax ID, and this is my EIN. So whenever you apply for your LLC and, you receive confirmation and your certification, then from there you would go to the IRS to, get your EIN. So my EIN is my tax ID. So that was kind of a relieving feeling when I realized that I didn't miss any steps, and that everything that I have going on right now is in order. Six is just the future about e-commerce. So what really is, e-commerce going to look like in the future? I have been watching a lot of videos, and one thing I learned is that in 2021, only 13% of sales in the US are e-commerce. Right. So this is, such a small percentage. That means the potential of 87% more sales to be on a e-commerce platform, whether it's Amazon, eBay, or any other platform, or a platform that somebody could create in the future. There's just so much opportunity. So this isn't a field that I'm too late to come in. I was thinking maybe I'm too late to hop on this e-commerce private label idea. But it's really not too late, because we're really a capitalist society, especially in the US. So all I need to do is really just find a brand that people want to buy, and that people spend what they want to spend, and they spend for convenience. And e-commerce is the ultimate convenience. So definitely this is not something that's going away, and the best time to get on something is now. And that's why I'm starting my e-commerce company, and excited for the future, and just knowing that, my next steps will be bright, whether there are ups and downs, I'm still going to be very, just interested and intrigued on how their journey will go, but knowing that is ultimately, going to be successful. And then my seventh thing that I learned is everything takes longer than expected. So even with me still trying to get my sample from my manufacturer, I did email and they said the delivery would be about 7 days for me to receive my package, but they didn't say that it would take 4 days to make the product first before they would send it. So that adds, extra days to the journey and just things of that nature. And you can never trust, delivery dates and things like that. So, I know for myself, I'm already realizing that everything takes longer than expected. So when I put in my bulk order for my 500 pieces of quantity, I know that it's going to take longer than a month to receive that. So, in that meantime, I need to be doing productive steps with my company, whether it's making my listing descriptions, identifying keywords for that I would have on my Amazon site, as well as other things, and just try to get my grips with my fulfilled by merchant and start understanding what it's going to be like for me to go back and forth from UPS. What type of relationships do I have to build with the company or the people at that specific store, and so we'll see with that. So everything takes longer than expected, and now I want to get into a little bit about my lessons of the week, and I have a couple of these as well. And yeah, it's probably gonna be a longer episode. I'm not gonna lie, just because I kind of have a lot to talk through, and everything I feel is important to get out, and everything is something I want to highlight. So I'll probably start off with my first lessons of the week, a lesson of the week, and that is that there's no right way to build a business. So this is more coming on my reading that I'm doing, and I'm reading a lot of books, a lot of them about how to build successful businesses, mostly corporate businesses that have already been, operational, but how do they, transform to become better, or even just, being an entrepreneur, how do you build a business? And I'm realizing that there's no one correct pathway. There's no one correct step. The only thing that is consistent throughout everybody's journey is that there are certain factors that need to remain, right? So there always needs to be have like good leadership. You always need to be thinking for the long term, and things of that nature. So knowing that whatever I'm doing now, it may not be what somebody else did, but as long as I'm keeping specific things in mind and still, progressing forward to that next step, then I'm on the right track. Thirdly, this is when I was listening to my course that I bought from Grant Cardone, and it was on the marketing section of the course, mastering marketing. And he was saying that, when it comes to marketing, you have to constantly, put information out there, constantly flood the market, constantly put something out there, get attention. Attention leads to revenue, right? And this is a concept that it makes sense. When you get attention and you get eyes, and that means more people are buying your idea. But the analogy that he used, in this case, was that you're throwing bricks into an ocean, right? So imagine, right, throwing a rock or a brick into the ocean, how expansive the ocean is. That is the marketplace, and you're only throwing a pebble, compared to what the marketplace is, compared to what the environment is. So you're never putting too much information out there. Even if you're putting 5 posts a day, 10 posts a day, that's still not enough, because you're only throwing bricks. And what kind of made me expand upon this analogy is, say I throw one brick in the ocean, what is the chance of me hitting one fish? Probably, a 0 to a trillion, like 1 out of a trillion, probably even less than that. But say I throw 1,000,000 bricks into the ocean, what is the chances of me hitting a fish? A lot greater. What are the chances of me hitting the fish, altering its direction, and then that fish changing the direction of the school? Because, fishes follow each other. So, if you get 1, 2, 3, 4 fishes, you can get that momentum of the marketplace. And then from there, people tend to buy what other people want to buy, just as human nature. So you get that momentum. So just point of it is to keep flooding the marketplace. Don't ever feel like, you're putting too much information out there. So in me, when that comes to my podcast, I'm now starting to think that, one episode a week isn't enough. Although my initial premise of putting this podcast out there just to document my journey, I feel like I'm not adding enough value only by putting up one episode a week. So what other things could I put on my channel that would add value, but that would, increase my consistency, increase my impact. So that's something that I have to think about now is, how do I really expand this podcast, because I will stay consistent with this long form type of forum where I just, give updates and, try to highlight and, things about my own personal life. But then also, what else can I do to add value? Thirdly, this is something that I also thought about just randomly. I think I might have been, laying down, about to go to sleep. But I was thinking about my entrepreneurship journey and about how I feel like the time for me to quit is like slowly disappearing behind me. So I know that I want to be an entrepreneur for the entirety of my life, just because I love working. I feel like I'm low key a workaholic. So, there's good and bad things of that. But that means that, I know what career I want and what I want to do. And I can kind of see in my own mind that the opportunity to not go forth with this entrepreneurship journey is like slowly closing behind me. So it's kind of like a warrior entering a cave to fight the dragon. And the further he walks into the cave, the smaller the light is getting behind him, to where sooner or later just going to be him in the cave, pitch black, trying to find the dragon, which is, success. Right. And, no one knows how long that cave is. No one knows where the dragon is. No one knows how big the dragon is. But, this is his mission, right? This is his one, directive in life, which is to bring glory or, glory to his family's name by getting success, by finishing that mission. So that's kind of what I'm thinking. And I'm realizing that now, after this point, I've been consistent for about 2-3 months in this entrepreneurship, and I already love it. It's already something that I want to morph my life around, and I don't want to go back to what I was before. And then my fourth lesson for the week is knowing what environments I'm productive in. So I have a roommate right now in my apartment as a senior, as my roommate since freshman year, but we live in a cohabitant place. So I was doing my work in the kitchen downstairs one night, and then he had just a Netflix show on, right? No problem at all. But me realizing that I myself can't be productive when there's like an interesting Netflix series on, because I'm gonna want to watch the TV. And I haven't watched Netflix in a long time, but whenever I'm a TV head, or like I used to be, so whenever the TV gets on, it's hard for me not to watch. So me realizing that I need to make that decision right there to just go upstairs, do my work in my room, and then I'll be more productive. And in that specific case, I did kind of make some missteps, not missteps, but I will say like missteps on my application for my Seller Central account. And I was, really mad because this really could have been easily prevented. But the only reason I had those missteps is because I was trying to do the application and my attention was on the Netflix show. So, just realizing that, know what environments you're productive in, although it may not have affected me when I'm doing my schoolwork, it's going to affect me when I'm doing my entrepreneurship work, because it's something that I need to be 100% in tune into, whatever it is. And then my last lesson for the week, which I think is the biggest one, is that I was really stressed out that night when I messed up on that Seller Central. I ended up, fixing it so there's no like long lasting problem, and it wasn't even like a major misstep. The only reason why I was so frustrated is because I knew it was easily preventable. and making that mistake and being frustrated that the rest of the night, me being so mad that I didn't even want to go to sleep just because I was disappointed in myself and not preventing that. I realized that I went to sleep and I woke up and it wasn't on my mind anymore. Right. So knowing that I may be stressed out from work, I may be angry from a situation, this and that, but I'm going to go to sleep and wake up and start over again. And, I'm going to wash it away. And, that's all you can do. You can't live in anger. You can't live in sadness. You can only, move your life forward and, try to, don't forget it, remember it, but don't let it harp on you. Right. Don't let it affect your being and your energy. So that Tuesday I woke up, I felt refreshed. I felt perfectly fine. And I just got back to work, kept doing whatever it was that I'm doing, and knowing that the next day is always going to come. You're always going to wake up again and have that energy to start and have a positive day that next day. And that was kind of long for my business update and my lessons for the week. I feel like each of my podcast episodes are getting longer and longer. But now I want to talk about time management. This will probably be a little bit shorter, but it's just about me juggling, my school and then my business and then, somewhat of my social life and, all these things together. And what does that look like? Because in my head, I feel like if I'm not doing schoolwork, then I need to be doing my business. I don't have set hours that I have set aside for my business, which I know I should, but the thing about, being in college, everything is so up in the air, and I know I need to be flexible with my schedule for whatever it is, because something might pop up, one day, and then, I can't devote time to, my business in those set hours. And once I kind of get off my schedule that I have set, that kind of messes me up, in a cascading effect. So I know personally how I work that I can't really work on a schedule that's outlined hour by hour, hour by hour, because that's not effective for me. But what I know that works for me is to have certain tasks and then assign time to those tasks. So say I want to work on my e-commerce. I'm going to have e-commerce for an hour. So I'll be doing my homework, might go eat this and that, but then I'll know in my head that I need to devote 1 hour of my undivided attention to my e-commerce. And then with that, I'll have, okay, an hour to e-commerce. Let me put 30 minutes to watching Grant Cardone courses, right? And then 30 minutes to trying to work on my podcast, right? How do I improve the thumbnails? How do I, try to get an intro beat? How do I get an intro slide and things of that nature? So dividing time off like that, that's the best practice for me. And then also not making excuses for knocking things off my list. So on my daily to-do list, I have my reading, those 40 pages. So 20 pages of 2 books, me putting my 3 prayers in a day, me going over my 91 Psalms, a declaration statement, and just among some other things, like I want to be able to work out every day, whether it's a hard workout or a light workout, just being active throughout the day and knowing that I can't make excuses for knocking off these lists. So even if, I worked until 3 a.m. trying to finish a lab report for school, I have to stay awake until 4 until I read these books, so there can't be any excuse. And when it comes to my daily to-do list, and that goes into time management. So instead of reading my book from 3 a.m. to 4 a.m., I have to be better at my own time management and not putting myself in that situation. So making myself read earlier in the day or read 5 pages here, 5 pages there. So I don't have to, read 20 pages or 40 pages, once my day is entirely over. So try to just, integrate these things into small pockets of time in my life, whether I'm going, in between classes and things of that nature. But this is an ongoing process for me because I still feel like I'm not dedicating enough time to my business. And now that is not only e-commerce, but it's also, my comics, my e-commerce, the podcast, And then hopefully the marketing, which I haven't really put any time and energy into yet, is still me dividing this time after school into 4 different endeavors now. But the premise is on e-commerce. But what does that look like when I'm dividing this time in my life? Because there are only 24 hours of the day. So, that's kind of what I want to talk about for time management. And now I want to have my next steps for next week. And next week, my sample shipment for sure should have been delivered. It's en route right now. Last time I checked, it was still in China, but 7-day delivery. It should be here by next time I record this podcast, which should be Sunday. And then I guess, like I said, in this downtime when I'm receiving these packages, the only thing I can do is just learn more and more about, e-commerce. So always having an e-commerce video on in the background. Somebody who I've been listening to is Cameron James, who's a successful e-commerce seller, and another one is Travis, I think Marciani, and these are 2 YouTubers who have already done that e-commerce thing. And from there, just me taking tidbits and tips, from whatever they did, in their journey, and try to apply that to myself. The best thing that I can do is take input and learn from others. That way I don't make their mistakes, and I can kind of improve my process upon theirs. So that's probably just my next step. Just keep learning. I'm not going to come with 7 things that I learned for next episode, but, just knowing that I will give, a couple updates into what I've learned, and then just my process in general. And then, so, all right, let's get it, y'all. Go and achieve a 99 dream, and 99 dream because you're going to achieve your dream, and it would be 100%, but nobody's perfect. So you're going to achieve 99% of that, and, let's go get it. Let's go.